In this tutorial, we'll walk through the process of creating UDIMs in Blender 5.0 and then exporting them to be used in Substance Painter. After exporting the finished textures in Substance Painter, you'll learn how to bring the UDIM textures back into Blender as well as Unreal Engine 5.7. UDIM stands for U dimension and is a UV mapping technique for high-resolution textures, which allows for high textile density and cleaner texture maps. For convenience, you can add materials to be used as an ID map in Substance Painter. For example, I'll give each part of my mesh a different material, which will make it easier to texture in Substance Painter. Split the viewport and open the Shader Editor and UV Editor. Make a new image texture, naming it and choosing your resolution. Check the box for tiled to be able to use UDIMs. If you've used different materials for the ID map, you'll need to copy and paste this image texture into each material. Open the image texture you just made in the UV editor. Use the N key to open the Properties panel and open the Image tab. You will see your UDIM tiles displayed. Currently, there's only one UDIM tile. To add a new UDIM tile, click on the plus button. If you need to delete a UDIM tile, click on the minus button. In my case, I need a total of 6 UDIM tiles, so click on the plus button and change the count to 5. Now you can unwrap your mesh. I select the first UDIM tile and will unwrap the wood first and place it on this UDIM tile. One thing to remember is not to have any UV island overlapping the UDIM tiles because this will cause shading issues and errors in Substance Painter. Once I have unwrapped the wood, I'll make sure the UV islands are facing the right direction. I now repeat this process for each part of the mesh. Once you have all the UDIM tiles ready, make sure the image texture is selected on each of your materials. Select what you want to export and export the file format of your choice. Drag and drop your exported mesh into Substance Painter. Select your resolution. Make sure you have Use UV Tile workflow checked to use UDIM tiles. Now you notice that you have each of your material from the ID maps as well as a list of the related UDIM tiles. Open the texture set settings and choose Bake Mesh Maps. Select the texture maps you want to bake and change the output size if needed. If you do not have a high poly mesh to bake from, select Use Low Poly Mesh as High Poly Mesh. Click on Bake Selected Textures. When the baking is complete, click on Return to Painting Mode. I have other videos going over how to texture in Substance Painter, so I won't be going into detail in this tutorial. A link to the playlist is in the description. Once you have everything textured, export the texture maps. I'll be exporting 2 separate texture maps, one for Blender and the other for Unreal. Back in Blender, make sure you have the Node Wrangler add-on activated. Open your first material. With the principled shader selected, use Ctrl-Shift-T to import the appropriate texture maps. Import your mesh materials and textures into Unreal. I won't be going into depth about importing and texturing, but I do have a playlist with plenty of tutorials. Link is in the description. Set up your materials. If you're using a version before 5.7, you may see errors on your materials. If this is the case, under Project Settings, look for Virtual Textures and enable it. You can see the video by Abe Liel for more information. You've now successfully created UDIMs in Blender and exported them to Substance Painter. You've also learned how to export the texture maps and bring them back into Blender and also Unreal Engine. Thanks for following along with this tutorial. If you found it helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good day.